Welcome to Artistic Adventures. It's time to start another project, and this one was going to be very exciting. We're going to be doing a remake of Evil Queen Regina from Once Upon a Time. And I wanted to thank Emma for suggesting this challenging project. I think I said it was Jackie in the last video, but Jackie suggested a Chinese doll, and we'll be doing that one next. So here is our Evil Queen. And let me just say, she gets to wear the most gorgeous clothes and jewelry in the history of television. She has really got some fabulous outfits. If you just do a quick Google search and look at her pictures, wow. So because of all those intricate details, I decided to use this 17-inch Draculaura doll instead of the regular size Monster High. So let's get started. We're going to be working on thigh-high boots today. These are the ones she came with. And what I did is cut off the bottom and then I rounded out the top so that it would fit either foot, right or left. And then I used my silicone mold to make molds and then baked some polymer clay in there. And I got those brown outer soles. Now for the boot itself, I'm using this stretchy, sort of leatherette looking fake material. Um, I have to say, after I used it, it wasn't my favorite, and I'll tell you why as we go along. But I'm showing you here how I made the pattern. I wrapped the paper towel around it, and then I put an edge for how much we're going to sew. Now here's one reason I didn't like it. I pinned the pattern on it, and you can see the pinholes. So I had to throw that piece away and go back. And now I'm marking it with a fabric pencil. And also the fabric pencil wouldn't mark on the leather side. It would only mark on the inside, which is has like a more of a fabric feel. So I did finally get these cut out. And the other problem I had is the glue wasn't adhering to it as well as I liked, and I ended up actually sanding some of the pieces on the outside to get them roughed up a little bit. It's just so slick, but it is nice and stretchy, and you need that to make this type of boot. Now I'm going to make an inner sole because I'm actually going to glue the fabric of the boot to this and then glue it to the outer sole. So now I've outlined her foot and I'm adding a little bit so that this will be sort of a ambidextrous sole, uh, wet just beyond her toes a little bit there, and that way we'll use these boots on either side. Now you can use this mold for other shoes for these 17-inch dolls, and that's kind of a great way to get your base is to make that mold, and then you can add things to it and make other different shoes. Now this part is important. You want to measure and make sure that the sole fits just inside, or the white paper that I'm cutting fits just inside the outer sole, the brown part. Because you're going to be adding fabric to this, it's going to hang over the side. So you don't want it to be the white part to be hanging over the side already before you add the material. So once I get that trimmed down, I'm going to cut out 4 pieces of this shape because I need 2 pieces per foot. I'm going to glue 2 pieces together to make it a little bit stronger so I can shape it into the shape of her foot. And then once I do that, I'm going to mark what this pattern's for. I always keep my patterns, and that way I know what I used it for and can use it again. So just cut out right underneath the line because you still want this to be the same size as the pattern that you cut. So don't cut it on the outside of the line. All right, then you're going to glue the 2 sides together, and then I'm going to show you how to make the shape of the shoe. So spread that out just a little bit with your finger, just so it's nice and flat on there and doesn't squish out. And then sort of start molding it to the shoe. You're going to have to use your fingers to uh, over press it a little bit to get it to fit. But once you do, you're going to let that dry, and that'll make a nice hard, well, not completely hard, but more firm inner sole. Now, here's another mistake that I made. I'm glad I get to tell you guys all this. I only sewed a little piece of this from there to there because I thought I was going to have to go in from the back to help get the this upper sole into there, but actually ended up I didn't need it because I was able to do everything through the opening at the toe. So if you're doing this, go ahead just sew up the back of the leg there. It'll save you some trouble later on having to turn it back and sew it. So I stuck the that outer sole in there. I mean inner sole. And then the thing is, I want to make sure that I have it far enough down that the fabric will fold over the toe, and also that the seam is at the very back of the heel. And then I put some glue on that and glued that bottom half of the inner sole down and clamped it so I would get a nice good glue. And I set that aside and I did the other one off camera so you guys didn't have to watch that. So after that dried, then I did some V cuts into the material at the toe, trying to get it focused there. Yeah, and that's so that when you fold it down, it doesn't crease so much and make little pointed edges that stick out. So I'm going to start just by folding down the top part. Fortunately, the underside of this does glue well to the cardboard, but the upper part just doesn't, that's too slick. Anyway, um, after I finish that part, then you can see I've got the sort of toe opening in there. Now I'm going to go back. Like I said, I didn't sew up the complete back of the boot when I first did it, which I should have. It would have been a lot easier. But now I'm just going to go back in. I had to return it, sew the back seam up, and then turn it back out so I can complete gluing that down on the toe. And I took care of doing the other one off camera so you didn't have to watch that. All right, so now I'm just making some more V cuts to try to get this to fit and putting the glue in there inside on the cardboard and then gluing the little pieces of the material down, trying to get a smooth edge where it turns up. And once I have that, it doesn't have to look pretty because it's going to be glued to the outer sole. So now I'm taking the outer sole and putting some glue in there. I let it sit for just a minute to get a little bit hard. And now I'm making sure that that seam is coming up the middle part of the sole. I glued it down onto the outer sole. Now you can clamp this down and leave it. I actually sat there and held it and watched some TV. So then it was glued to the outer sole, and I did the other shoe as well. Now she came with these little half uh, fishnet hose kind of thing. So I'm going to leave those on her, in the interest of doll underwear freedom. So there's our finished boots, and they have the little point, and they come up above the thigh, and they ended up fitting pretty good. So that's the end of that project. And I know you probably think it's weird that I started with the boots, but they required a lot of manipulation with a doll, and I kind of like to get that out of the way before I work on their face or hair and costume, because that would really make it harder to work on the boots. So the boots are done, and next we're going to be working on that fabulous dress. So stay tuned. I hope you like this video and this project. It's going to be fun. Subscribe so you don't miss a thing. Thanks, and bye.